Beetlejuice.
1988's Beetlejuice is considered a classic, and rightfully so. Starring Michael Keaton as the title character and Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz, the movie was both a box office and critical success, was also a cultural phenomenon, and is still viewed fondly by people to this day. And I think the Beetlejuice character is probably what Michael Keaton is best known for. Well, maybe next to the Batman. Now, a sequel to the original has been in the works for 34 years. In fact, there were even 2 completed scripts way back in the day. One titled Beetlejuice in Love, and the other, and I shit you not, titled Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. Both of these, however, were shelved in the late 90s. Many more years would pass until 2015, when there was finally some traction on a sequel. But this too fell by the wayside. But you know what they say, third time's a charm. And in 2022, the long-awaited sequel to Beetlejuice finally began production. But then this was delayed by the writer's strike and the actor's strike. It wasn't until early this year that filming was completed and post-production begun, and finally, 36 years after the original, the sequel to Beetlejuice, titled Beetlejuice, was released to theaters this past weekend. Now, recently, sequels of long-ago projects have been, well, let's be honest, pretty crappy. Remember Willow from the 80s? That was a cool little movie. Did you know they made a sequel series to that last year? You didn't know that? Well, that's because it was so poorly received, it was canceled, and it was pulled off of Disney+. And the less we say about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, or 2021's Matrix Resurrection, the better. So what do we have here? Is Beetlejuice a successful sequel that bucks the recent trend, or does it add to the growing list of recent bombs? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot for Beetlejuice.
Let's talk.
So here we find Lydia Dietz, again played by Winona Ryder. She's now the host of a supernatural talk show called Ghost House, produced by her boyfriend Rory. During the taping of the segment, Lydia, however, sees a vision of Beetlejuice in the audience. Shortly thereafter, Delia, Lydia's stepmother, shares the news about the death of her father Charles, who was eaten by sharks. En route to Winter River for the funeral service, their surviving Dietz family members pick up Lydia's estranged daughter Astrid from boarding school. Following the funeral services, Rory proposes to Lydia, which she reluctantly accepts, causing Astrid to flee. She crashes her bike into a tree and meets Jeremy, a boy who was in a treehouse. He invites her over prior to the wedding for Halloween. But at that Halloween hangout, Astrid learns that Jeremy is a ghost seeking her help to restore his life. He promises Astrid that he can help her reunite with her father Richard, who 2 years earlier disappeared in South America, if she assists him. The two enter the afterlife after Astrid recites an incantation from the handbook of the recently deceased. Discovering that Jeremy's actually a past murderer, and that he killed his family and died when the police took him into custody, Lydia reluctantly calls upon Beetlejuice for help in retrieving Astrid. Beetlejuice agrees but demands that Lydia marry him, allowing him to stay in the mortal world and evade his vengeful ex-wife and murderer Dolores in the afterlife, who has returned to the afterlife and is gunning for Beetlejuice. So what works in this film? Well, Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. He slips right back into the character of Beetlejuice. Picks up right where he left off back in 1988, playing the trickster demon with the same manic, over-the-top charm. It's like it was yesterday. Also, Winona Ryder's great again as Lydia. Jenna Ortega, who plays her daughter Astrid, again, great performance. I do like Ortega. Catherine O'Hara, she's back as Delia. It's probably one of the roles she's most known for, and she's brilliant. She eats up the screen. I really like the use of the 80s style special effects here. Yeah, they look a bit dated, but it fits with the style of the film.
That works.
What didn't work, however, was the entire script. Remember the first film? The story was very simple, straightforward, very compact, nice. This one, it's all over the place. We have several different stories going on here, and they just never seem to mesh. And in each one, the ending is extremely unsatisfying. Also, remember the iconic Deo scene in the original? It was really funny. It's one of the most memorable scenes in that film. They try to replicate that here with the song MacArthur Park, but the scene just goes on and on and on. Finally, none of the new characters really work, and it's a shame, because I love William Dafoe. He's in this. I love Monica Bellucci. She's a great actress. She's the villain of the story, but her character is just really dull. I mean, she doesn't really do anything but yell, "Where's Beetlejuice? Where's Beetlejuice?" Look, I love the original. It's one of my favorite movies of the 80s. It's fun, it's dark, but it's incredibly charming. This one has little of that. And it makes me sad to say that I left the theater underwhelmed. It's not terrible, especially when Keaton and Ryder are on the screen, or O'Hara, and it does have its moments. There's just not enough of them.
But it's just not enough.
So Beetlejuice operates as a cavalcade of rough ideas that never come together. The actors, they deliver charismatic performances, especially Keaton and O'Hara, but the story constantly meanders and flounders with too many extra characters and extra subplots that are just unnecessary. Now, judging by early box office returns, this looks like it's going to be a hit. People seem to like it, but I don't think it's going to age well. Look, 36 years later, we're still talking about the original. I doubt we talk about this one next year. Again, it's not terrible. I just want it more.
I wanted more.
Well, that's it for me this week. Tune in next week when I give you my thoughts and feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button. Subscribe, leave a comment or a question. Share this video with friends and enemies alike. And as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.